We're anxious to play. I don't think there's any question about that. I think everybody this time of year is anxious to go against somebody different. It's hard to believe we're going to play a game on October 26th, but we are, and we've been in practice almost a month. And we're anxious to see where we stand. I like this team, Southern Indiana. Rodney Watson's done a great job. He's had 4 straight 20-plus win seasons. They led the country in rebound margin for them last year. They lost a couple of guys, but they've got 7 seniors. And very efficient half-court offense, and what I think is the best Division II conference in America. I think it has been for a long time. And I think we'll see a lot, too, when we play Hillsdale in a week. 2 really good programs and really good conferences that compete night in and night out and can recruit a little differently and recruit with a wider net maybe than a lot of people. And I think that's good for us. As far as where we stand, the one thing there's so much trepidation as you get ready to start this because it is early and we are extremely young, and you keep reading all these different stories or talking to colleagues about that have scrimmaged at this point, and you start to know that everybody's really in for Mr. Toad's wild ride for a while here until we figure out how the games are going to be officiated. The officials, the coaches, the players. What we've tried to do is, and we've been doing it for a couple of years, but we try to make sure that we have referees in here 75-80% of the time. And so we've got them really going through our drills, whether it's a passing drill, whether it's a shooting drill, anything that just keeps reinforcing what we have to do footwork-wise, but then certainly anything that we're doing 3-on-3, 4-on-4, 5-on-5 from there, where we're getting a lot of teaching. And we want to make sure that we understand that this game is changing, and it's going to be universal. And early on, everybody's going to have to make the adjustment to it, us included. So hopefully our depth will continue to rise. We don't have a ton of guys that have separated themselves yet, and I don't think that's a bad thing. I think it's very, very competitive. But I don't think we'll really see where we're at until we get more from more guys that have been injured. And this was only Luke Fisher's 3rd day of contact practices. This is Troy Williams' first week having his right hand, and it's still padded up. So we've dealt with a lot of different things like that. Peter was gone for almost 2 weeks back to see his father and his family, and that obviously and absolutely had to happen. There's no way around that. You hate to have him leave for that reason, but he had to go, and it's the way that it is. So we're anxious to see where it stands, and we're anxious to have something to evaluate as we get ready for the next one.
Are the level of practices rising the way that you want? I know they're not where you want them to, but are they starting to get to be closer to you?
Well, I think what we're trying to do is hold them to a standard of not where they think they're at and not against one another, but with where a championship level program should be. So all we do is turn around to last year, and we turn around to those numbers and those statistics. And it's not about having somebody that is going to come in and score X amount of points right now. It's not about somebody that is going to take X amount of shots. It's about percentages. It's about free throw attempts. It's about Indiana assists, which is an assist that, not the hockey assist per se, but the Indiana assist is the pass that maybe it was missed, maybe it was bobbled, maybe it was turned over, maybe just missed a layup, but it was attempted to be made. A lot of people, I think, keep the hockey assist type things, but we're already doing that. We're already, in a sense, I don't want to reward the next pass because that's what we're built on. I do want to reward the guy that tries to give up the ball when he had a shot or he had a play to give a guy a better shot. And so, we'd like to see our team get to a point where they're about 2-to-1, 3-to-1 a lot of times on those Indiana assists versus assists. Deflections are big, efficiency points for us. So we're really evaluating this team and holding them to a standard of what last year's numbers looked like. Now that's far-reaching. There's a huge difference between last year and this year right now, and there's a huge difference in the numbers. But that's what we're reaching for. So in answer to your question, the energy's been good for a long time. There's a lot of mental pressure out there right now to get an understanding, to skip some steps. Because we're going to play so many young guys, we can't have a team that is constantly making mistakes because they're not strong enough with the ball or they don't talk or they don't react. And We're extremely long, we're extremely athletic, but we're extremely short on understanding and experience. And so a lot of time is spent right now learning how hard we have to practice, how much we have to compete.
Is it difficult to practice at that championship level, especially because you have the bulk of those guys that won the championship?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. There's no question, but they have the want to. You know, and will the will do be there? We'll see. But the want to is there, and that's what you want. But I mean, when we point out that, well, Victor shot this percentage, it's not about how many points he had. It's percentages. That's the standard I think you try to hold them to. You know, what are they getting out of what they're doing? And then are they making their teammates better? And we're trying to play to the level of our length and athleticism. We're trying to get those understandings. I had a friend of mine in yesterday that said, you know, this team really reminds me a lot of some of your later Marquette teams, and with the athleticism and the ability to get to the basket. And I think that's a good thing, but we're going to have to really, really get better shooting the ball. Those teams could really shoot. Last year's team is as good a shooting team as there was, and we're going to have to really get better at shooting the ball. Well, one way we're going to do that is to get as many easy baskets, get as many offensive boards, get out on the break, run on turnovers, create deflections and steals. You know, I would think that I would have hoped that our block shots would be up from where they are right now at this point, but I think guys are very concerned about fouling. So again, it's they don't have an understanding yet, and that's to be expected. We haven't played any games, and it's going to take a while for that to happen.
What are some of the areas where you've seen the most progress, and what are some of the areas maybe
In the short time,
yeah, since you've been in practice, or really just with this team in general, where have you seen this team get better, and where
ball moves better, and now when the lights go on, it's got to move that way. You know, the biggest thing with a young team is shot selection sometimes. It's decision making, but it's thinking that, okay, you know, now it's my turn, and we're not built that way, and that's not going to happen. No, that's why it's so important that this team become a deep team, and that we can become too deep, literally at every position. And again, we've got a lot of multi-positional guys, and because we don't have a deep backcourt per se right now, we've got to make, and Stan is still out. I mean, he won't play tomorrow night unless something magically changes tonight. But we've got to play a lot of different guys in a lot of different places. So I think that's happened. I think versatility has grown. I think confidence has grown of guys being stretched into positions and doing things that they might not have done before. I think, no question, the defense has gotten better. Understanding our length has not improved a little bit this week, but I think we have a lot of guys right now that have +5, +6, +7, +8, +9 wingspans that think they have a -2. You know, they don't realize it. They don't realize what they can do athletically. And I think until we get in the games, and until we hear the whistle blow, and until we have real crowds and real timeouts and real situations, it's going to take a while for them to get that. But I think different guys are bringing their voices to the table, and some guys are still too quiet. But we've been very competitive, with the exception of probably 2 or 3 times out of the 22 practices. I'd say we've been very competitive in those practices.